Welcome to today's episode. As I record this, it's the Monday before Thanksgiving, but by the time it airs, Thanksgiving will be past. I hope that you had a wonderful time of fun with family and friends. Oftentimes, the holidays can be very stressful. We try to put too much into it, too many parties, shopping, whatnot. But stress and overwhelm can hit us any time of the year. Problems and difficulties happen. That's life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We will face difficult times. I recently found myself in a very difficult situation and made one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make. I know it was the right decision, but my fear kept screaming at me. So as I sat in church yesterday, I sought the Lord. During worship, I went to the altar and I prayed. I asked for his peace and I laid the situation at Jesus' feet. I told myself, no, I'm not going to pick it up again. That's probably the hardest part for a lot of us. As the service shifted into a time of offering, I listened intently. We always have an elder who gives us a very short encouragement before we actually, walk to the front of the church to give our tithe or our offering. And he talked about his grandma and how every year for his birthday, she would give him some money and a Bible tract. And he was very open and honest about the fact that he always threw away the tract without reading it. The Lord has done a mighty work in this man. And he went on to say, I think it was about 16, she gave him a Bible along with some money. And in that Bible, in the very front, where, quote, where I'd be sure to see it if I opened it, he told us, were the verses from Psalm 37, 5 and 6. I'm going to read them for you. This is from the New King James. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your justice as the noonday. Oh, those verses were exactly what I needed. And yet, I knew there was more there for me. There was something about that psalm that pricked my spirit in a good way. I pulled it up on the Bible app on my phone and I read more. And as I read, the peace of God entered into my spirit. And I was, able to finally let go and really enjoy the church service. That afternoon, as I thought about this psalm, I remembered using that very psalm in the first book that I wrote. So I pulled the book from the shelf and I searched the pages. About halfway through the book, I found it. It's chapter 13. The title of the chapter was Stress Relief, the Emotional Aspect. Yes, ironic. How could I have forgotten the vital role that Psalm 37 played in my life at that point in time? As I read the chapter, it all came flooding back. How I hung on to those verses when I was going through all of the mess with my husband having abused my daughter. Those words gave me an anchor. And I really don't know how I seem to have forgotten them over the years. But that's exactly what I needed yesterday. And I read through the whole psalm last night as I lay in bed because I wanted to soak it in even more. There's so much wisdom and guidance in the Bible for our everyday living. But Psalm 37, man, it puts it in a nutshell, all in that one psalm. What I would like to do is read to you from my book, Carried by Grace, on how I talked about this very psalm and the verses in it. First of all, Psalm 37, and I've rendered it in the New King James Version in the book as well, is an ideal daily living guide and encourager. Verse 1 says, "Do not fret." What is fretting? It's worry. And I didn't catch it before, but I caught it yesterday as I was reading it. David says, "Do not fret," 3 times in this psalm. Worry does us absolutely no good. What it does is it keeps our mind focused on the problem, and so all we do is bring more problems into our lives. No amount of worry is going to make things better. It drags you down, body, mind, and spirit. That was verse 1. Verse 3, "Trust in the Lord. Dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness." This is the answer to your worry. Instead of fretting and worrying about the situation, trust in the Lord, dwell in the land, and feed on his faithfulness. Keep your thoughts focused on God. And what else has he done? Spend some time in gratitude. Think about the other ways that God has answered your prayers. Trust in and believe God. You are a citizen of heaven and a child of God. All that he has is yours. Ask for what you need. He keeps you in his peace when you keep your thoughts fixed on him. Verse 4, "Delight yourself in the Lord. Praise and thank him regularly. Rejoice in his love for you." This is going to stop you from thinking about the problems. It will stop you from being angry if you're angry about the situation. And it helps ward off depression. Verse 5, "Commit your way to the Lord." To commit something is to entrust it to someone else's oversight. So to commit your way to the Lord is to trust that he brings only what's best into your life, that he'll guide your every footstep. Give him your concerns and your dreams, your life and your children's lives. Give everything to God and trust him to work. Verse 7. Once we've done those other 3 things, verse 7 tells us what to do next. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. When you live those 4 other steps mentioned above, do not fret, trust in the Lord, delight yourself in the Lord, and commit your way to the Lord, now we can sit back and rest. Believe that you have received the answers to your prayer, and wait for God to act. As you pray, thank him for the answers he is bringing to your prayers. Thankfulness for his answers will help you stay focused on God rather than on the problem. And that's important. We need to keep our thoughts focused on positive, on God. Think on these things, whatever is of good report. Philippians 4:8. There's a whole lot more to that verse. There's a reason he tells us what to think about, because what we think about is what we bring into our lives. Psalm 37 ends with a promise. "But the salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their strength in time of trouble, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him." God not only gives us guidance on how to live, he also promises action on his part. So the key here definitely is to keep our thoughts focused on God every day. not to worry. Do not fret. Do not fret. Do not worry. Easier said than done, I know. I know full well. And it is a daily practice to keep our mind focused on specific things rather than to suddenly, find it over there, mulling over the problem again. But as we end this year, as we work our way through December, and, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're a little overwhelmed right now, just maybe because of the holidays, but maybe because you haven't accomplished what you set out to accomplish for this year. But that's okay. You just set another deadline and you continue to move toward the things that you desire in your life. Take Psalm 37 and read through it every day until you know it well enough that you've memorized it, that you can live it every day and realize, okay, as you wake up in bed, that moment you wake up, you just say, I commit this day to you, Lord, and trust him. The important part about trusting here is the fact that how many of us say we believe and that we trust, but yet we find ourselves being worried. That shows us that we really aren't trusting God. If we are not expecting, if we are not resting in peace and confidence that what we've asked for will be done, then we truly do not have the faith and belief and trust in God that we say we have. That one has been hitting me on a very regular basis lately. The fact that I say I believe in God, but yet at the same time, deep down inside me, I don't expect him to act and move in my life. And there are so many times when God has come through in big ways, not just little ways. When I was going through all of that stuff with my ex-husband, there was one night, I used to read sections of the Bible to my youngest. He was only 2 at the time, at bedtime. And there was one night we were reading in Exodus, about all of the plagues and the things that God did. And I lay there thinking about the fact that I was so much like those Israelites. God had done big things in my life, yet I still doubted. Just like the Israelites. I mean, imagine it. All those miracles that he did, that he brought them through. I mean, they lived it. I mean, they saw that Red Sea part, right? I mean, and I always marveled, how could they not have faith in God when they saw miracles like that? But yet I had to admit that there were times in my life when God had done big things, had brought major answers in my life, yet every time I prayed, I doubted. That is not faith. That is not trust. Be honest with yourself. Is that where you find yourself a lot of the time? We don't have to live there. We can make the choice that we will believe, that we will trust, and that when we pray, we assume it will happen. The Bible does tell us, when you pray, believe that you have received. You don't believe when you see it, you believe you've received it before it ever gets here. That is part of resting in God and trusting God, having faith. So I want to encourage you today, as you end the year in the hecticness of what Christmas has become, I encourage you to let go a lot of that. Don't try to make the holidays perfect. Just enjoy them with your family and let God's peace invade your lives in a way that's brand new, that you've never experienced. And as you face the troubles that come in the year ahead, and yes, there will be troubles, but you can remain calm because you know that God is on your side, that He is there to help you, and that He will provide. Take Psalm 37 and make it a part of your daily practice in life. Commit your way to the Lord. Delight yourself in the Lord. Trust in Him and rest in Him.